YouTube and drop the link in YouTube. Let's see. Bada bang, bada boom, baby. That way I don't have to worry about recording it. It'll just stream straight to YouTube and then it'll save there so we can watch. It's already like in one central location. Cool. Dude, the Cocker, 6.2%?
Yeah, so and that's with the with 20% down. So I ran it with the 6.5% interest rate. That's just what I found that day that I ran the numbers, what the average interest rate was in the country, and it was like 6.501 or something like that. So I just ran it off of those numbers, and I ran it with 5% down, and then when I did all that, it ended up coming out to be like negative cash flow, and I was like, okay, well, it seems like a good property. What if we were able to put more down to lower the monthly payments? And yeah, it ended up being like a pretty good, 6.2% cash return. So it's cash flowing almost 160 a month, and I was pretty generous with some of the like repairs and maintenance and property taxes and insurance and stuff.
And I mean, well,
And
for
another thing is this. So this property's been on Zillow for like over a month now. They originally had it up at 154.9, and then a month went by, and I guess it still hasn't sold. And I don't think it's necessarily not selling because it's a bad price. I actually think it's a pretty good price for where it's at. It's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. It's like almost renovated, basically. I mean, it has a lot of new stuff in it. Looks real nice on the inside, I feel like. Outside looks good. It's in a cul-de-sac, so it's like in a nice little end of the neighborhood. Nice big backyard. But yeah, it went a month without selling, and they dropped the price to 149.9, which puts it at like 140 something dollars per square foot.
yeah, that's under the median.
Yeah, that was earlier this week they dropped it. So
Okay, so they're at least willing to like.
yeah, I think there could be some wiggle room on
Right.
even getting it down lower, or even having it cover closing costs, something like that.
And so, okay, so if we're doing the 30-year fix at 6.5, the mortgage payment is 919, and that's 5% down. And then you said that we would have to increase that to get a better monthly payment to bring out the cash flow because so we'd have to go from 5 to 20.
Right.
Okay, that's where
Yeah. Yeah. So it goes from putting almost 7.5 down to putting 30 down, which is obviously a marginal difference. But
right.
if that was possible, I mean, it's a good looking home.
Yeah,
But
and
I just wanted to share that because I found that property when I was looking through the other day, and I was like, oh, I like this house. It looks pretty nice. It looks like it could be something. So I just went ahead and ran some numbers on it just to look at it at least.
and you said it's 3 bed, 1 bath, right?
Yeah, 3-bed, 1 bath, fully fenced in backyard, big backyard. Kitchen's been remodeled, bathroom's been remodeled. New laminate flooring throughout the house.
So it's like not a lot of work to be done there.
No, I mean, I don't even think you really have to do anything unless you want to take out the. I think there's carpet in the bedrooms, so I mean, if you wanted to change out the carpet,
Mm-hmm.
and either put new carpet or finish out the laminate throughout the whole house. 2-car garage.
Oh yeah. And so like, so one of the things that I talked to my boss about today was one of the things, like one of the big topics that we were going to talk about on the doc. And one, I don't think you have access to the Google Doc, do you?
Uh,
The Rex. Oh, you do. Okay.
I think we shared. Yes.
So I was talking to him today, and I said, so here's the four ways that like we're looking at right now, and if there's anything else that you could see that we're missing, like what is it? And he didn't really give us anything that was too far off of what we already have here.
Yeah.
He basically described how all of these would work, and if we did the partnership, it's more than likely that we wouldn't be able to get the FHA loan.
Right.
So that is what it is. So we're probably, like, if we're doing a conventional, we're probably looking at 20% down on it, like most houses anyways.
Yeah.
And then if we did the partnership of someone else's money, that's called a syndicate, and we would have to, that's where we come in and we would run all the numbers. Bro, my eye is killing me. We'd come in, we'd run all the numbers, we'd pitch it to them, they'd invest, and either we invest our money in with them or they pay for everything and we just get a flat fee, which is like cool, but it's also like there's a lot of
We wouldn't even own the house. We would just be managing it.
exactly, and it would be less risk for like like more potential reward there, but it doesn't always like equate that way.
Yeah.
And I think that if we don't have any sort of like skin in the game,
Yeah.
then it's just harder for people to want to put their money in like that. So like if we did the partnership with someone else's money, I think it would probably be better to do just like a conglomerate of like everybody's throwing in X amount, and then we can make it work. And then like seller financing, that's possible, but he said to like really watch out for the language that's used. Um,
Yeah.
that's like we'd have to really work with an attorney there and focus on those costs, because he said he's known people in the past where they have it written out in the contract, and if they're like 30 days late on a payment, on like one payment, he'll come in and he will just, they're gone, like evict them. He will change the locks, he will do everything he needs to do, and they're done. So that could be really really bad if we're not like really careful with that.
Yeah.
And then one of the other bigger things that he said was, you know and it's kind of our situation where we're we're just not like financially free in the sense that we can just throw money at these things.
Right.
We're more strapped for cash, and if it comes down to it, and say we're all throwing in 10,000 and we have 30,000, and on this house we throw a $30,000 down payment, well that's basically, well that's all of our capital that we've raised. And if we don't have that reserve for any shortfalls, then we're kind of screwing ourselves. And
Yeah.
he said that like having that shortfall account saves him from, you know, any and almost every sort of trouble because, you know, like having a percentage of that for capex, like you have 6250 on this house, a month for that, and so say that's like $2,000 or $3,000 out of the 30 that we have total. Having, you know, another set amount of that capital for like vacancies, because, you know, I don't, for me, I know that wasn't something that I completely thought of or like thought through, is like, what if the house is vacant for 3 6 months, you know, like, yeah, sure, we could cover the cost, but, you know, if we already had that aside, then it's no worry, you know, we're not pulling out of our own pockets at that point. But those are the big, like, the biggest things that I took away from that conversation. Otherwise, it's starting to seem more and more that like the FHA is off the table,
Yeah.
mostly just because like of our individual situations.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that's why like whenever I ran those numbers, I put the 20% down because I was like, well, that that 5% down was based on an FHA loan. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, if that's not possible, what's the next best? Well, next best is like for a loan, next best is it's gonna be 20% down, minimum.
Yeah, and that's
Unless there was like some kind of, I mean, there's specific loans out there that for first time home buyers. I'm sure if we looked into it, even there's probably some specific uh, loans for investors or first time
mm-hmm.
investors too. People do sponsorship loans all the time for stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of details to it. Like you gotta have a bunch of prerequisites and uh, probably a bunch of reporting and stuff that you have to do throughout the entire thing. But um, I mean, that would be another option as well. I just don't know how extensive that is or how many possible loans there that are. I just know whenever we were looking into buy this house, um, we did an FHA just because it was our first house and obviously we don't live in it.
Yeah.
But whenever we were talking with our realtor, we were like, obviously, I mean, we were 21, and so we were just like we don't have $30,000, $20,000 for a down payment. I was like, we have like $8,000 we can put down on a
Mm-hmm.
house for and she was like, no, that's fine. I mean, if you're a first time home buyer, like there were uh, depending on where you buy the house at, like there's um, some counties have specific loan propositions that you can do because they want people to buy houses in that county. So the city's like funding these specific loans for people to like kind of move there. So I mean that could be another thing too. We could look at maybe some lower, like not necessarily lower income areas, but lower populated areas,
Right.
because there's a good opportunity that either the city or the state or something's trying to get people to come there, so they might be funding specific kind of loans and stuff like that for people where you don't have to have a crazy down payment because they'll be like, as long as you're buying a house in this area and paying taxes, like we want you to live here. So
Yeah.
I mean that would obviously it gets so specific at that point. We'd have to look at specific counties and probably have to talk to loan officers and stuff to see, because I'm sure they would have better understanding of what specific loans can apply in certain areas and stuff.
Yeah. And I know, like, well, funny enough that you mentioned the advanced depreciation, like before we started recording, but I did talk to, That was one of the other little things that we talked about with my boss was depreciation, and he was saying that, say we did, we got into one and we used it. Hey, bro, bless you.
Thank you.
And we tried to depreciate the house, or even we use like advanced depreciation. We have to be aware that we're getting rid of that home in X amount of years, whatever we determine. So we could come in and get a home and, start depreciation immediately and, show that on our taxes. But we are going to like be fully prepared to offload that position like when it is time to get the full benefit of it. So it's that. I mean, it's an option, but that seems like it's a little bit further down the road of an option, like
Yeah.
more so for like buy and flip.
Yeah. And another thing with that is like when through my what I was researching about it is um, like doing advanced depreciation and just depreciation in general. Um, it's you can't think of it like it's just a tax break.
Hmm.
It's a loan from the IRS. Is what it is.
Oh, okay.
So whenever you go to that, and so that's why I'm doing this research on what's it called, recapturing depreciation, because like I said, we did an advanced depreciation and we sold it less than a year later. So I mean, that's not the IRS doesn't like that because they just gave us like a $27,000 tax break, and then we turn around and sell it, make a gain on the sale, and we just get taxed on the gain of the sale, which is a max 20% depending on the
Mm-hmm.
tax bracket. But with recaptured depreciation, we have to take that into account, and that can be taxed up to 25%. So, but there's ways around that. So if we did that, like if we invested in a property, we did that advanced depreciation and showed that on our taxes, and then we were like 2 3 years later, we're like we want to sell the house, and then whenever we do that, we would have to do that recapture depreciation, pretty much owe taxes on all that depreciation we took off in the years that we did have it. Or what we could do to loophole around that is take the money from the sale of that house and put it into a new rental property.
Right.
And doing that, I can't remember exactly what it's called.
1039.
Yeah, a 1031 exchange. So
Yes.
doing that, you can pretty much offload all that depreciation and show a loss as soon as you buy the new house, and it offsets the sale of the old one.
Mm.
So you pretty much don't have to pay the taxes on that. You're pretty much just pushing paying that tax off as long as you can,
Right.
and eventually over time it just kind of gets smaller and smaller. But
Yeah,
all
that
interesting
seems.
stuff, and it's crazy complicated.
Yeah, that
But
seems like
if you know what
way
you're
over my
doing,
head.
like that's where you can really kind of go past everybody else that doesn't know what they're doing in terms
Mm-hmm.
of taxes and stuff. Because I've seen so many and read so many stories about investors that get into it, and so many people don't think about taxes, and it can, I mean, around this time it can destroy people because they don't prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like if you know what you're doing with taxes and stuff, and you're good at finding tax breaks and getting around the IRS loopholes and stuff like that, like you can do really really well just by having all these tax breaks. I mean, you can show like for the property company that I do the managing for with my uncle, we're showing like a $30,000 loss for the whole year. But I mean, technically, I mean, we did good throughout the year,
Right.
but all that depreciation and stuff, like it's just we're showing a big loss. So when it comes to tax time around now, like it's going to be pretty good
Mm-hmm.
because it looks like we didn't make any money.
Yeah, on paper it's like you guys sucked, but
Yeah.
in reality it's like, nah, you're all right.
And on top of that, we have all this asset value, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just all the buildings appreciating, the land's appreciating. Like when it comes time to sell, like it's just it'll be really
And maybe because I don't think any of us are, well, you're the closest to it, but any of us are great with taxes. Um, so maybe that's something we sit down and talk to, like, maybe not a CPA, maybe a CPA, or just like an actual like tax specialist.
good. Yeah. And I
Um,
mean, there's actual like real estate specific
oh, okay.
tax specialists. So especially like anybody that does segregated cost studies, like any company that kind of runs stuff like that, they would be the ones to go to task about tax benefits when it comes to real estate.
Okay, yeah, and
But yeah, I mean that is some. I mean it's pretty advanced stuff. It's not necessarily stuff we should or need to be worrying about right off the bat. But
hmm
there are options with that stuff.
it's it. I feel like it's at least worth the conversation.
Yeah.
Especially like once we, maybe after we purchased a home or something like that. Maybe right before, because maybe there is something in there where there's a loophole where we create a business, and as a business we, as an LLC per se, we're holding this asset, and we could show a loss on the first year because it's our first purchase as
Mm-hmm.
however it may work, but
Right.
maybe there's really something to that, and then on top of everything else that they could find, because I know like, even just for like Kennedy, she's been recently talking to a tax person for her business, and the dude is offering her all kinds of tax breaks. Like, there's so much that even I start to get like seriously, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound like at all. And it's like, obviously she can write off her rent because she works from home. She can write off her mileage. She can write off like food purchases. It's harder, but you'd have to be really good at tracking it. But I mean, it's just like item after item after item after item, and you can just everything off. And
Yeah.
so I can only imagine what it's like for homes.
Oh yeah. Like upgrades, like if you get new carpet, like like stuff like that, like getting new carpet, doing additions onto the house, like you can choose to depreciate that over the years,
Mm-hmm.
or you can wait and just say like I don't want to take anything out just yet, and then when you go to sell like 5 years down the line, you just have all this value that you put into the home, and it increases that value whenever you go to sell, and then whenever you get that gain, hopefully that gain on the sale, uh, because you didn't depreciate that stuff prior, you don't have to pay taxes on it anymore. But it already increased the value of the home, so it helped you get that gain on sale.
Yeah.
It's just like there's a lot to it, and I'm sure there's way more than I know there's way more than what I would know, or what I would even really care to know.
Right. It's a lot of it is I just don't know that I
Yeah,
don't know it.
there's so many laws when it comes to stuff like that, and it's almost too much stuff that if you're not just looking for specific stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna find it.
Damn.
It's interesting, but yeah. So like one of the things I wanted to kind of bring up, because I'm trying to figure out what, like I understand what our goals are.
Mm-hmm.
Like we want to be real estate investors, and we want to that sort of nature. But like what is our like time frame? You know, like I like it's fun to like look at houses and run numbers on them and say, oh, like I'm gonna go look at this one. It's really cool. I wanna this could be a good investment opportunity and stuff like that. But like, how close are we to actually doing
Um, well, okay, so scroll down in the doc. It like where was that, like the third page, third page in. Um, Here is like the goals, right? Here's here are time frames for everything. The the hard part right now, or I guess it's not the hard part. The unsolved question to, like, where are we at?
that? Yeah.
We aren't quantifying that.
Okay.
So I guess the answer to that or that question is, we can set up, whether it's in this doc or it's in like the real estate doc, an actual like measure of where we are to where our goal is. And if that means, we need to put in like, we're all gonna throw in $10,000, like anytime that we're throwing money in for that specifically, go in, update it, and we can physically see, where we are with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could break that down, because I know, like, with my budget, like for my savings, I have it to where it's like, here's what I'm contributing, here's how much I have, here's the goal, here's how many months it's going to take to hit that goal. So we could do it that way, and quantify it that way. That's like strictly financial.
Yeah.
And then, most of this, we at least have numbers written in here. So,
Yeah.
one of the other things that we can do is, so it says desired target would be 15 to 20 comps, on each loan type, and then evaluating the results. So, I mean, that's just another thing. We, either we start, like on the real estate calculator, we go in and we have like a home page that says, let me pull it like all the way over here. Or even on the roadmap itself, but we would just do like, comp checklist, and then like it would be like, total ran, and then, goal. So, what we could do is, have like this little section up at the top here, and that would be like the overview. And then for each comp that we run, so like on Buddies, he ran this comp. Let's say that he, if we could like export it, like the idea for this would be, so we would put like, comp one, and it would, or like it would be address, loan type, and then, I feel like there's got to be a third column here just to keep things in threes. But it would be like, you would list off the address, and you would just hyperlink the comp to the address. So whether that be, we take a copy of our own like, BP calculators, and we like just put it in ourselves, and we just create like one sheet, or one, like Google sheet, and have multiple tabs with everything, and just hyperlink everything down. But, long story short, I think that is probably a really good way to like visually track like that goal specifically, to see, it's like, all right, we've ran 15, 20 comps, we know all the loan types, here's all of the data at a glance, and if we want to drill down, we could drill down. like that that seems doable. Um, like define what a realistic target would be for profitability, the ROI.
Yeah.
Um, I guess like what is realistic for us?
Yeah. And see, that's pretty much just kind of what I'm trying to figure out because and it might just be me, but it kind of seems like we're looking at actual potential investment properties. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're about to like we have like if we had that 5% and we were like, oh yeah, this works. Like, are we gonna go for it, or are we just like, oh yeah, this would work if we wanted to do that? Um, and then, I mean, it's stuff like, oh, it's like if we put 20% down, it would be it would work and it would work really well.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna try to figure out how we get that 20%, or are we just kind of like, hey, if we did have 20%, like this looks like a good property we could invest in potentially. Um, I just like I just don't want to get caught in a position where one of us isn't on the same page
Right.
as the other two, or two of us are on the same page, as whatever. Um, but I mean,
I don't know. I think it is kind of hard because
yeah, yeah.
at
Which
least
and
I
that's fine.
right. Um, I know like at least none of us. So all three of us have day jobs. You know, this isn't something that if we jumped into, we're it's like we're all in. I mean, yes, we are because we want it to work, but it's not make or break. We're not gonna die if this doesn't work out. It's like, sure, I lost a few $1,000s, and that sucks. Like Buddy said the other week, like that's awful. But 25, 26, bounce back, man. It's okay. Um, and at that point, I think, like moving off of that is if we find one and it truly works, like and I mean I think we're missing a few like steps, and I'd rather be the what if we did this first instead of if only we would have done that.
Yeah,
It's like what if and then do instead of if only. And like profitability, it's like I think if it's cash flowing, I think if we're actually getting money each month, I think a small amount is okay.
no, yeah,
If
I think so too. Even if we're like, I mean, not necessarily breaking even, but I mean, if it's
one
I mean,
percent,
like the one I ran, like if we're able to get a property and it's like we're actually cash flowing $150 a month. I mean, yeah, that's awesome.
right? And the way that I see it is like I know for me, I'm not looking at the cash flow as income. Like
Yeah.
that's not being split three ways. I'm not getting
Okay.
$50 a month, and like I'm not putting that in my pocket. Like that $150 is going right back into, the account that we all three have our names on, and it is there. It's
Okay.
I feel like any money that is made off of this just goes right back into it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's whether, we sit down and we type out or write up or whatever, like a clause, and that's to say, like, for the next 5 years,
Yeah.
no money, no distributions are being made, and it's like everything that goes into it stays into it. Because I would love to literally just let that sit there and build and build and build, and say that like aside from a reserve account, because that I think absolutely needs to be the most liquid thing you can have.
Yeah.
If taking, you know, 12 months of $150 and putting that in like a CD, like something that's very liquid, but it will still build some sort of interest so that we're not just letting cash sit there.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea, even. But
Yeah.
like to your point, I think is taking any money out of this for at least the first 5 years. I think that's a safe number. Is not a good idea at all.
Yeah. I would agree. Unless it, I mean, unless it just like blew up.
Dude,
We were
if we're
just like
making
there is just
bank.
yeah, there's just too much that like we don't know what to do with it, and we're just like at the point where we're like, all three of us can live off of this, you know, we might as well. But like realistically, that's like probably not gonna happen. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think whenever maybe when Buddy's available, I think either at our next meeting or at some point, I think we
Mhm.
need to sit down and I mean discuss like the options that we have up here on page one, and
Right.
because I mean I have no objections to doing this with you guys, like
Right.
100%. Like I trust both of you. I know both of you will do your due diligence, and uh, I think it would be fine. I like no part of me is like I don't know if like going into something like rent, re, real estate investment is a good idea with these guys. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't hold any reservations for anything like that. I think it just if something if we are going to do that, it needs to get real specific, you know, because I mean
Yes.
it's a big deal. 100 like $150,000 house is a big deal.
Yes.
Um,
It's a house, dude. It's not
yeah,
like a streaming setup that we all pitched in to get.
and not just that, it would be a business, an investment, and I mean we obviously it would be a lot of time and work all three of us would have to put into it.
Right.
And I mean I think doing this is a really really good way to start off. I can't think of any other people that I know our age that's
No.
doing anything like this. I know a
No.
lot of people that talk about this. I don't know anybody that's sitting down and scheduling days to actually talk about it, and I don't know anybody that has documents like this
No.
set up. So I mean, I think we're in a good position. I just think that we need to get just specific,
Right.
you know.
Right. It's
And like I said, I mean, it could just be me. I'm not very good at making decisions. You know, I second guess myself a whole lot. Madison picks dinner all the time. I just can't make like I'm not very good at making my own decisions. I have to put like even when I'm buying like this headset when I bought it, like I'm watching 15 reviews of it. I'm looking at people's reviews that have bought it. I'm looking at pictures of it. I'm looking at the worst reviews. Like I need to put a lot of like information into
mm-hmm.
a decision. So I mean that's pretty much why I just want to get into specifics, just
Right.
because I just want to know like if we found a house, are we gonna do it, or are we just gonna say like, oh yeah, that'd be a good one. We can use that one kind of as a frame of reference, so that when the time comes when we are ready, we can kind of compare it to that a little bit and see, like, you know, do we think this is as good as an idea as this one that we also thought was a good idea?
I well, a few things. I think the like the goal to have 15 20 comps on each loan type, I think that is to I think that is to build the frame of reference. So it's like, yeah, we're doing things the way we are right now, and it's cool because it's like it's new and exciting, and it's like
Yeah,
we're all like a part of it, and we're all just like working really hard at this.
yeah,
But I do think that, at least for like this short time, it's we're just building frames of like a frame of reference. We
okay,
know what things are going to look like, and truthfully, I think if we come across something that is like we're all like, holy shit,
Yeah,
like I think
yeah,
we should
I
at
agree.
least try that opportunity because I mean, dude, you're never gonna play if you don't try.
Yeah, and that's dude, that's something whenever I talked to my uncle the other day, and I told him that we were doing this, and he was like, I was like, I mean, do you have like what's your number one like what's the word tip like what's your I couldn't think of tip what's your tip for like somebody that's doing something like this, and he was just like, you just have to do it. And he's like, you can do all the analysis and everything that you want. And he's like, maybe you find something that works, maybe something doesn't work. And he's like, but he's like, and I trust him, dude. Dude's super successful,
Hmm.
and so he's just like, you can be as specific as you want, and you can have as much information and details as you want. But if you don't do it, there's no point to it. He
Yeah,
was like, you're gonna get all of your information and all of your experience from just trying to do it.
yeah,
Even if you fail, at least you tried, and now you know how not to do it the next time. So I mean, yeah, I agree. If we find something that all three of us were just like, we're idiots if we don't
yeah.
do this, then
Then we are
yeah,
idiots.
yeah, then we are idiots, and then we need to do it. But at the same time, like I mean, yeah, I think we just need to all three be like, yeah, this is
Hmm.
it.
And so to your point, or building off of your point of like you don't really like to make the decisions without a ton of research, and even then you're still a little hesitant. So for me, I'm sort of that same way. I can't ever really make the decision to like justify, like going out and buying a headset because it's like I
Mine works.
do
Yeah,
it's yeah, mine works. I do
yeah,
want a new one, I don't, but it's like I don't want to make that decision.
yeah,
And for me, that translates into trading, and that gets really like not terrifying, but it leads to like paralysis analysis or analysis paralysis. um,
bro. It's 7:30.
somebody's breaking in the house.
It's just our pooper scooper.
So like to I like for me, I know to avoid that, I have to build a system that I can trust.
Yeah,
And for me, that system is, it's my trading plan with, like all of the strategies very clearly defined, and then
yeah,
the trading log to back, like to have the actual quantitative data to back up what I'm saying in my trading plan. And that's this sort of the idea with like this Rex document
yeah,
is it's to start creating this system that we can rely on. We don't sure, it's we're kind of like hesitant. Like I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time that I actually genuinely looked at this other than today. It was probably weeks, but it's it'll get to the point where we will be referencing this as much as we need it until we understand and trust it. And then it is
yeah,
okay, now we just need to come in here and we just need to make updates to this system that we already have in place. And
yeah,
that's the same thing with the comps and getting that frame of reference. And it's just we're compiling all of this stuff into one system that we trust and can just
yeah.
it's less so about having to make the decision, and it's more so about just following through
Trusting
with
the
the
plan. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
That's like that is the huge thing for me, like, and that's like here with this, and then like in trading, and just with a lot of like daily work and shit that I do, like even with the push-ups, bro, like I know that if I just get down and I just start doing push-ups, I know I will hit 100 just
Yeah.
because I've been doing it long enough that I trust that it'll keep happening. And yeah,
Yeah.
it just goes from there.
Yeah. Well, maybe okay. So maybe that's our next step. Maybe we I think we'll get to the point, but uh, I think maybe our next step is just like getting to a point where we're not meeting just on Thursdays. Maybe we meet every day. Maybe it's for like 30 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like I mean I know you guys did like you guys gave yourself homework and stuff like that. Like maybe we kind of go back to that and we're like, okay, next Thursday everybody brings 3 houses that they looked at and did some comps on and stuff like that, and then we go over them and kind of question each other. Okay, like why did you think this was a good idea?
Right.
Where'd you get this number? Stuff like that. Um, and then I think you're right. I think we need to get to a point where we have a solid plan and structure set in place, and we we just get to a point where we trust it,
Mm-hmm.
and if it comes to a point where we're like, this is it, then that's it.
Right.
And yeah,
And even if we don't have all of the all of the details, we have 70%, 80% of them laid out. That other 20, 30%, 10%, we're just gonna have to figure out. And
yeah,
it's like
yeah, it's yeah.
all we can do is
We're
the
either gonna
best.
sink or swim. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so on that then, let's let's go with the homework. Did I actually? Okay, yeah. I need to finish out this NBA mortgage report too. Speaking of, it increased 7.4% from 1 week.
What?
Mortgage loan application volume.
I think interest rate. I was like, reverse
Yeah, so it's like mortgage loan apps, the volume for that increased 7.4% from the previous week. It's on an adjusted basis seasonally. On an unadjusted basis, it is an 8% increase from last week. And then the refi index increased 18% from last week. And 75% lower than the same week last year. This is just week over week stuff. The month over month stuff is probably more beneficial, but this is just to, like stay on top of like the shorter term.
Yeah.
So, increase in loan volume by 7.4. Okay, so there's that. As for the homework, I think one of the things should be to what is it exactly? It should be, where is it? Define, I guess we should, I think we should start with the goals. So define what a realistic target would be for profitability. And then, well, that says by running loan comparisons on multiple doors and loan types. So I think we could answer that, or get a quantitative metric for that by doing the 15 to 20 comparisons. Oh, don't look that up. Oh, are you frozen? Oh, I lost Blake. Lost internet. No. Okay. So it's fine. I'll finish this out. Let's do this. I can end the call, minimize this. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're going to copy this, paste. Oh shit, he's back. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I don't know what happened. Like,
I was just talking, bro, and then I looked over and I was like, wait, Blake hasn't moved. I was like, wait, are you there? And you just texted. Damn. Okay. So on this, on like the homework itself, I think trying not defining but creating metrics for these goals that we don't already have metrics to. So define what a realistic target would be for profitability by running loan comps on multiple doors and loan types. I think we answer that by doing 15 to 20 comparisons. I mean, it literally says desired target would be 15 to 20 comparisons on each loan type and then evaluating the results. So that's where I'm just going to title it homework number 1. So that way it's just there and then we'll rename it later. But this, it would just be, I think, 15 to 20 here. We'll say 20 and we'll accept 15. Actually, we'll go for 15. We want 20. The real estate calc. And then we can do equals count, and then we'll do these guys right here. So we want, how many is that highlighted? Okay, so if I put cool. So now this will just keep track of how many we've ran. So that way we don't even have to like count these up here. It'll just keep track up top. Comp checklist, I don't even, yeah. I'm just gonna delete that because that doesn't make sense. And then what I'm thinking is like insert note. Fill in address and hyperlink loan comp to address. So that way we know that, and then obviously the loan type. Like, do you think it's worth, well, I think it's worth doing the loan type out here. Do you think it's worth adding in anything else?
I mean, maybe we could just put like, whether or not you think it would be a good investment.
Like, just yes, no.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that way, like, if somebody says yes, we can be like, oh, okay, well, let's go look at that one real quick and see why do you think yes, and if no, we can look at it and see why you think no.
And then we'll do counts. I think it was like right there. No, it's count if.
Yeah, and then like if, at the end of this, if we have more no's than yeses, then we can maybe even look at that and be like, okay, well, why did we pick these houses then if they were no's? what was it that drew us to them? Was it just? I mean, it could just be random. Like we could just pull a property just because we wanted to.
And if that's the case, if we're just pulling random properties just to run loan comps, it's like clearly we're not doing something right. Okay, so there's gotta center this shit. Okay, and then I think that's good,
I think that's a good starting point.
right?
So when do we want to have 20 done? And is this 20 each, 20 total?
20 total, because if we, what is that per person? That's like seven per person. Yeah, I think we'll do 21, so that way, I mean, it's just a straight 7.
Yeah.
Not 27, damn it. 21. And then that way, it's either 5 each or 7 each.
Yep.
And that seems pretty easy. And
I mean, yeah, start tomorrow. It's 1 a day.
yeah. You think we want to have this? Oh, this is where this comes into play. Due date. Next, maybe not next Thursday, but next Saturday.
Yep. I'm cool with that.
What is that? 18th. Okay. So 18. Boom.
And do we, when it comes to loan type, do we want to do like one property and then multiple loan types for that property, or property, loan type, different property, different loan type?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I think for consistency's sake, it might be better for all of us to do one loan type for every property. And if that's the case, which loan? And to me, it seems like the FHA loan is slowly creeping its way out the door.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like
Unless somebody wants to
exactly.
take one for the team.
Okay, so if since that's been said, just maybe conventional.
Yeah, so let's look at conventional loans. I mean, maybe, like what we talked about at the beginning, maybe we could even look into, like, some of these specialty loans, like some of these city-funded ones or something like that. To me, honestly, it really doesn't matter. It might just be kind of fun to look into to see what other options there are out there. So, yeah, for now, I'm just going to say for now, baseline conventional loans, and then if you're feeling it, which I think all three of us are curious people, so I think we'll look into different types of loans that are available. I'm sure we'll get some kind of variability in there between the three of us.
And if that is the case, like we could add in the note and just say here's why I chose that loan. Like, you give your reason. I think that would just be way more beneficial.
Yeah. At least, okay, so let's say at least one specialty.
Okay.
Something that's not that you would see like a conventional. At least
Not
one. That way we at least get out there and do some research and look into what else is out there.
we've written in the doc because we have I think we have a pretty fair amount of loan types in that document. So I think that's kind of like a double whammy where
Okay.
we have to at least check the doc to see what loan types. So it's like I feel like it's like we're using both at the same time. So it's the I know I learned the best whenever I had to integrate both of them at the same time. So
Yep.
at least for me, I know that'll be good.
I like that. I like that.
Urge. Oh my gosh, come on. And then cool. So there's that. Come over here. Homework. Check. Homework number 1 tab. And run loan comps for Gita. Boom. I think that's absolutely solid. I think it is absolutely doable.
Yeah.
And I think it's at least easy enough that we can all get it done and
Get something out of it.
get something out of it. Exactly. Um, I feel like we don't need to add anything more. Do you?
No, I think that's good. And then,
Okay.
if it's not done next Thursday, that's fine. We said Saturday's the due date.
Exactly.
And then either next Thursday, maybe we're all like, oh, I have 5 done already. I'm looking. I'll do 2 more. Maybe we can add a little bit more homework on top of that for the following week, or I mean we can come to that when we get to it.
Right. I do think that we can all at least have at minimum 1. Like, if you don't have at least 1 by then, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
so yeah, I think we'll at least for Thursday we'll have something to talk about. We'll, like you said, we'll be able to probably stack some more homework on top of that.
Yep.
We'll get something out of it, and
Yeah.
those are
yeah. Well, I think with every meeting we're gonna get closer and closer and get more specific
mm-hmm.
and figure out where we're going.
Right.
But I like where we're going. I like where we're starting off. I think this is 100% doable. I like that we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
There's one last thing. I added it into the homework tab, but it's just the source. I feel like that's pretty easy. So whether you want, like, whether you found it on Zillow or Redfin or wherever, but I think that'll be pretty important.
Yeah.
Pretty cool metric.
Because that could correlate with the yes nos too. We could have a bunch of yeses from one side and a bunch of nos from another.
Right. Because
Good
right
idea.
now,
Good idea.
don't know what to track, so let's try to track everything.
Yep. I like it.
Yeah!